Why do you always seem so much taller than me?
I got good
You are
posture,
taller than
man.
me. Oh, it's true. My posture's fucking terrible, man. I'm basically undead already.
They knocked it out of me in counseling school.
Wait, actually?
Not really, but they do emphasize it. Well, it's weird. Some professors talk about how you gotta have a complete open posture, be inviting, and then other professors are like, if that makes you uncomfortable, then just be whatever position that makes you comfortable. Because then the client will realize you're not comfortable, and then it's gonna be a whole ordeal.
There's a lot of stuff like that in recruiting as well, especially when people really started to take notes on the laptops. Recruiting's a very old industry. So whenever you
Headhunting.
Yeah. That's when I started the career headhunting. I just do regular recruitment now for Discord. Hell yeah. Hopefully I get a hoodie or merch soon. It's been a very good time.
You get the classic Discord jacket.
Yeah. They have a ton of
That'd be
stuff, hats and
nice.
whatnot. I'm super stoked.
They do have some nice merch.
I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but look on the career page, guys. Well, I could shout out roles. Not that there's a ton of you guys, but recruiting, you've got the person usually you can handwrite and look them in the eye and talk to them, but people aren't as good at typing and looking at a screen, and they can't see the screen,
True.
So there was a bit of stuff. People were like, you got to pay attention, look in the eye. I'm like, I can't do multiple things at once.
Right.
Multitasking is a myth. It's a myth. So when I'm on the computer, I'm like, hey, I can't type and talk at the same time because I might type what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think if you're honest and you're upfront about it, then the client, whoever's across you, they don't care.
Yeah, thankfully I don't have to look at the keyboard. So usually I just look like a psychopath, and you can hear me typing. I'm like, yeah.
Terrifying.
So that's the fun stuff that goes on. But as I'm opening my notes,
You know who else headhunts? Cults, like the cult of Vecna.
Oh, what the fucking say? That's so silly that they do that. Hello, please join our pyramid scheme, the ziggurat. Right. It's lovely.
But I was talking about my, I had an interesting last couple days. I a little bit. I told Brax I had some AC troubles in my car. But that was
Texas,
only
not now,
the half
the heat
of it.
wave.
Yeah, it's like 100 something outside. So I got a new dresser I've had the same dresser since I was in the dorm. It's not a great one. Doesn't hold that much. I was running out of space, so I decided to go get a new dresser from IKEA. They're nice, very, very nice stuff.
Yeah.
A little expensive, but you pay for what you get.
You can.
But
It's
I decided
Swedish.
to look first. I think my lovely girlfriend mentioned it. I should look at Facebook Marketplace or just see if there's anything a little cheap. Why not? And there was a $20 IKEA dresser there that normally goes for $100 plus. And so I was like, let's do it.
Was it in
Let's
good
go
shape
for it.
though?
It looked perfect on the pictures. I messaged the guy. It was very nice, very cordial. He even gave me the measurements to make sure it could fit in my car. And let me tell you, it was a tight squeeze.
Oh, you actually got it in the car? Holy shit! Your car's not big.
Well, that's the next part of the story. So broke on the way. My AC broke on the way getting to this. So we were stuck in the heat trying to get there. And this happened. We were gonna have a date. There was a whole date night. And we're gonna go to IKEA on the way and pick it up. So this was a extra part. We're all dressed nice, looking good, and the AC breaks, so we're sweating up a storm. And then we get to the guy's place. First of all, he's wearing a jersey of a team I like. No, I wish. And I was wearing a hat of the exact same soccer team. So I was like, whoa, crazy.
Which team?
Liverpool. And we're like,
We just
hey,
lost
what's up, dude?
like a bunch of people.
This is not Liverpool, but it was cool. We talked about that. But then came the part of, let me lug it into the car. And I don't know if you've ever given stuff away, but I do the exact same thing. Whenever you're giving something away to somebody or transferring it to another person, you help them get it out of your place.
Yeah.
You'll pick it up and you'll shove it in their car, and then it's out of your hands,
Absolutely, right? Yeah.
So he helped me lug it in, and it got stuck a few times. I could see it getting a few marks on it here and there, shoving it into my car. But I was like, you know what? $20. I'm not planning on keeping this thing forever.
Yeah.
So we get it back, and he's a pretty well-built guy, so it was easier with him around. We get back to the apartments, and it was tough lugging it out. We actually ended up breaking, the part at the bottom that holds it from flopping left or right. We broke that in half somehow trying to get it out. We were able to tourniquet it back together. We attach it with duct tape and put stuff around it, and it actually works great now. But it was quite the process. And I got battle scars.
Yeah, fuck. And you had no forgiving air conditioning to sit in while you drove home.
Yeah, I got scratches.
That's
over
the part
here,
that would have fucking gotten me.
A nail stabbed me right here. It was a whole process.
But hey, now you had a workout and a sauna.
True. Yeah, then we took about a hour rest before we changed, and then went back out to our date night.
Short rest. Was this the same night that we were going to record?
This was on Saturday.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
gonna
So it's
record
on Friday. Okay. Yeah, we've been moving stuff around. We have some stuff.
I guess we should say. Yeah, you're watching this on Tuesday. We're probably gonna start switching to our Tuesday release again. Yes. We've been Monday, Tuesday.
Did we do Thursday once?
I think we did Thursdays.
Or was that just live play?
Maybe it was Fridays. I can't remember.
And we did do Fridays.
Yeah, I think so.
Might as well hit every day.
So we flopped around a lot. So I appreciate you guys being patient with us.
Yeah. Tuesday works really well. We're going to have the live play start, and then we'll be able to do that fun thing where people on the YouTube are like, hey, I'm going to be streaming tonight. Like right now. And I always get really excited when I see that. I never actually join. I hope you do. It is a good call. It's like, oh shit, might as well jot that down on my social media YouTuber calendar of all my favorite people. I handwrite a calendar with them. But there's like this... I don't know if he's a comedy YouTuber. He's a funny dude, but he does a lot of VR stuff. And he's Habie, Habie. He's got a little pig icon. He's super funny. And he was like, I'm streaming tonight.
Right now when you see this, probably.
Damn, I will definitely probably join at some point. So that could be a lot of fun for us. We don't know if the day that this is coming out, if there is one, but if we have decided that it's going to, which it's not likely.
Probably not. This is so
right
last minute.
Now.
Yeah, we were thinking about it, and then as it started getting closer, we're like, okay, there's still a few more moving parts that we want to make sure it's
There's
correct.
only moving parts because I now have more funds and time. That's it. So I just want to make sure the audio sounds perfect. We are pretty much good to go from just like game standpoint, just getting all of the sound panels. And this will help this episode or this podcast too, because if you remember when we were remote, I do think that's when our audio sounded the best, but that's just because we were both in a small room with stuff. Sound good now. Taking a lot of work. There's some drilling going on upstairs. Some machinations.
I was that guy the other night when I was setting up my dresser. It was just because I broke all the nails. They were inside of me, and so I had to fix the whole back panel. You have to just on IKEA stuff usually just pop it. So I just put a couple nails back in, and it was like 10 p.m. It wasn't many, so I knew I was gonna be bothered. I was gonna bother someone for about 5-10 minutes. But I was like, all right, it's got boom, 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 boom. And
I always try to. He's usually pretty good about stuff. But speaking of machinations and tools and building things and planning things,
the Undying King.
The Undying King. Well, before that, we aren't that, but he's Ryan.
He's Braxton.
I'm pointing over here. Hello. We're at the Dungeon Crawl. Today we're going to be talking about Vecna, and it's just a really weird...
Yeah, specifically the Vecna Dossier, which I believe, unless you're a subscriber, you can't get it anymore.
At all? I thought you could buy it.
I might be misunderstanding it, but let me pull up here. It was free for everybody to claim.
Yes, I thought I didn't get it, but then we got it like way long ago because it just passed.
Yeah.
I won't tell you all the dates it stopped because you might have just missed it, but...
I think I checked it earlier, and I remember thinking that everyone else missed it. If you had not seen it yet, yeah, I think you can. If you're a subscriber, you can still see it, but you have to go subscribe. And then at the end of July, it'll be gone forever. Even if you're a subscriber, you cannot claim it anymore. You'll have it if you've claimed it by now, but it'll be gone. Which we talked about a few episodes ago about what we would like them to do with the online space. This is it until you remove it from everyone else ever getting it again. That I don't like.
It's the exclusivity clause and the fear of missing out. I'm okay with it now. The whole
battle pass idea.
Yes. I'm okay with this now because it's going to keep distracting me. It's finally about time we've had one of these videos where like, hey, there's people doing stuff. Don't worry about it. We're fine. It's ASMR.
The last day was 4 days ago.
Yes, it was. I got scared. I thought I didn't get it. Where was I going?
About the exclusivity.
Yes. So they just had the deal where D&D Beyond became an official WotC product, I think is what I'll consider it.
Basically, yeah.
They wanted people to swap their accounts over to Wizards accounts and or just do the little administrative stuff that they need to do. I'm okay with once for now for them doing this. But I'm sure the people that wrote this would like it to still be available. I know they know it's going to be in screenshots
the weird thing
and images.
Is the adventure is still available because it's just an article on D&D Beyond. But the dossier that has the stat block to run Vecna in the adventure will not be. I know, isn't that weird? It'd be nice if the stat block was included in this adventure.
They have
but I guess
items and
that's why
whatnot
it's
in
not.
there.
There's a few, yeah, but the Vile Darkness and a couple of the items are in the DM's guide already. So
That's true. That's weird. I did not think about that.
Yeah, I find it odd that it's not a part of the dossier, but I guess that's why it's not, so you can access it forever. I don't know.
So this is also somewhat timely because I just with a bunch of friends watched the first animated version of Critical Role or whatever they call it,
first
TV
season.
show. And it was good.
What's it called?
Legend of Vox Machina?
Legend of Vox Machina.
Something like that. Overall enjoyed it. It just made me want to listen to it though, which is, probably the goal of it.
That's probably the goal, yeah.
Specifically because I play D&D and Dungeons & Dragons and whatnot, and this isn't going to lead into Critical Role stuff because I still haven't listened to or watched a bunch of it. But I just wanted to know how and why and what things they were doing, what was happening. And then, I guess you would have inferred spoilers, but big bad evil guy spoilers for season 1 Critical Role incoming. Sorry if you're hearing this now and you see the episode title, so it's bad. Should have done this earlier. But Vecna may or may not be involved in that, or at least they were mentioned at season 1. And I'm assuming they are the big bad. So
they are not really. I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's pretty well known that he is the main campaign.
Yeah. So really timely. Wasn't expecting that to happen, but it gave me a bit of context for what's going on and the stuff that happens in that show. They animate it real gory. It's real spooky.
Yeah, it's done by Titmouse.
Are these people that did? Is it the Invincibles? What are they? Like it looks so similar at character design.
I don't think so, but I can see
the character design and art style looks really similar.
I can see where you get that. I don't believe it is.
I think it's a different studio. A friend of mine.
But it definitely looks similar.
Yes. Okay. So Vecna has always been a name I have heard of.
Yeah, it's definitely one that if getting into D&D, you probably would have heard of that one, and maybe just that one. I don't know. Yeah. I can't think of any other really well-known D&D villains.
Yeah, the first exposure I had to him was any of my friends interested in trying to be a necromancer in 5th edition, which is nigh impossible or really hard at early levels. Vecna was always like, oh, I want them to be my patron or the person I get my powers from. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Maybe they talk about Vecna in like the Warlock.
Yeah, he is an option or somebody is listed there. So it's always been in my noggin. Necromancy and all that sort of stuff has never been what I want my warlocks to be about. But nonetheless, I am aware of his existence.
Yeah.
Was not privy to his background or his knowledge other than hand and eye imagery.
They are important somehow, yeah.
They are important somehow. So this was my first foray into it, and
it's very cool.
I like in the dossier, I mean, they give a little rundown of what goes on with his backstory, his upbringing, his mother, how he was kind of pretty much a slave to I don't know if it was a wizardry place or school or whatever, but basically people that studied this sort of stuff.
Order, yeah.
And he just was kind of their lackey. It was a word that I have never heard before. Boot black. What is that?
Yeah, I never heard that before either.
I don't know if it's some sort of shoe shiner or if that's just a lowly person in the order itself. Might be. But he started writing all of his bad thoughts in a diary and he became a lich. That's basically what happened, apparently.
The legendary Book of Vile Darkness.
Book of Vile Darkness. He's in Greyhawk. Is it exclusively Greyhawk? I mean, of course you can move him everywhere, but
I think he comes out of Greyhawk. Yeah, but the guy's everywhere. He can travel space and time.
So, oh shit, Planeswalker.
Pretty much,
There's probably a Vecna card somewhere in Magic.
I would hope so. I mean, it wasn't in the D&D set.
Yeah. The fun thing too is he's got not really an arch nemesis, but I was reading in there like, oh, a paladin was under service. And yes, we've done, I think, an episode on paladins, and you don't have to be a good paladin. There's Oathbreaker paladins, but when I still see it for the first time, I'm like, why is a paladin helping him? So once I got that prejudice gone, I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah, Koss, so you talking about?
Koss. And then she turns on him.
Yeah, Koss is pretty badass.
I was confused. Like, why the fuck does a paladin have a herdy undead sword?
Yeah, we talked about Cass in our one of our Shadowfell episodes, or Ravenfall. I can't remember somewhere. Yeah, I think it was Ravenfall because I mentioned that I wanted them. They had them and Lord Soth had kind of disappeared. Lord Soth is somewhere else entirely, but kind of disappeared for some time, and then Cass reappeared as like one of the rulers of one of the domains in the Shadowfell.
Domains of Dread.
Yeah,
I guess they are evil. If they're serving Vecna,
kind of
have to be.
Evil in their own way.
And then it just goes on to say, maybe the voice that was driving Vecna to do all his deeds swapped from him because they were like, oh, fuck, this dude's actually a little too crazy.
He's too intense for even us.
And he might just be rivaling their power. So they're like, Koss, can you do a little chop, a little stab? And she takes his eye and hand. And now he's like, can I have those back, please? And most of what he does now is just because he hates everything pure and good and wants his hand and eye back.
Yeah, he's like the most powerful wizard of all time.
So he's a lich, an arch lich, right?
Yes. Okay. And this stat block that's included here is pre-Koss destroying the hand and eye.
Yes.
Which is cool because we've never seen that kind of a stat block before from Vecna.
It's been a while since I've looked at something, and CR can be dumb, but the challenge rating for this is 26.
26. That's not a dragon either. Usually it's just CR 26 dragons.
Yes, it's very big. 30 is the Tarrasque for your reference.
Yes.
So I don't have a lot of experience.
But I did see an interesting comment talking about this, comparing it to a Tarrasque, because people were saying the Tarrasque is this, and Tarrasque could be, if you think about it, could just be killed with a guy flying in a bow far enough away, whatever. But when you're fighting Tarrasque, you're not really fighting the Tarrasque. You're fighting
magic resistance.
True, but you're fighting the drive that it has to go to the town that you love. That's true. Because the Tarrasque is obviously big and powerful, but it's going somewhere. Vecna's pissed off at you specifically.
And for the Tarrasque, I mean, it's got a lot of HP, and you need to be a certain level to realistically do it before it just kills you. So
we'll be safe. If you're a player, I would say probably check out, because we're going to be talking about the stat block specifically for Vecna, and then specifically the adventure that comes along with this. So if you're a player, that's not really much for you here.
Yeah. If you're the person that doesn't want to know the abilities of things that show up, like me most of the time, I think we have DMs that change stuff up. And as long as you change at least a letter in the name, I'll probably not realize.
We'll call it Vecna.
Vecna, big B. So I do want to compare it to the third-party one that you showed as well.
Yeah. Okay. So we can talk about that real quick.
I have that.
So there's a third-party one that was created by. I had to find it real fast. Of course, my Reddit decides to fail me and reset everything. Created by a Reddit creator by the name of Semako, Semako. They said the idea behind this was obviously the Vecna Dossier was released. And they said they found the stat block to be underwhelming. They said that they wanted to make this. They didn't understand how there wasn't legendary actions, which we'll talk about in a second as well. They decided to revise the entire stat block. They gave Vecna spell casting, lots of spell casting spells, which basically you'll find in the stat block does not have that either.
Every spell. And there's an interesting choice, like point of contingency that's pretty common as of late regarding counterspell. Mm-hmm. And wizards, I'll start with this because I think it's really indicative of 5.5e, and we had a comment the other day about that. By the way, did you upload this? Sorry, this is super off task for me talking. Did you upload the lifelay thing?
I have not yet.
Okay, so, it has a copyright strike.
Yes, it does. We can still upload
no audio there.
But yeah, we can still upload. If we ever monetize, we'll never get any money from that specific.
It's not a strike; it's a claim.
Yeah, just a claim.
And they said it was going to be cool. Okay, off task, but he doesn't have counterspell in the official stat block, and this is a common thing.
Reaction.
They are now starting to give counterspell as an ability or reaction to monsters, and this means that you cannot counterspell his counterspell.
Which I will say, normally I would be upset about, but it's Vecna. If anyone can get around wizard abilities, it'd probably be this guy. I'm totally
fine with it. I just hate.
But I don't like the trend. The trend for sure.
It sucks because counterspell for some groups has been, at least in my case, I don't find it fun. I don't find being able to resist 5 things per day saving. Like, it makes sense when you're watching Critical Role or TV. It isn't as big of a fuck you or I'm just deleting 5 of y'all's spells. So it's literally like, this dude's powerful as shit, and you toss a spell and they just go whack. Yeah. We've had the conversation on legendary resistance, and it makes sense. Like, there's no other way, I think, for wizards to figure out a way to make it work, because if one hold monster spell fails, that's the whole boss combat basically over. It's very true. And at this level, you're going to have a lot of resources, but for quite a while, when there's most monsters, 10th level or so, having 3 legendary resistances, all the fuck you have is 3 uses of these things sometimes. So they basically just don't exist.
So the thought process is a little metagaming, but I mean, if your characters are at this level, you're going to understand these guys are tough. We got to throw out the abilities. We don't care if they use their, like, so like a hold monster.
You don't have those, though.
So you drop a couple hold monsters down. they don't want to get held, so they have to eventually use their legendary resistance, and then that's when you pop in like the, I don't know, time stopper, so something crazy that would really affect this guy.
It's literally the same thing as like playing against a blue deck. You know they have probably X amount of counter spells or whatnot. It's not an unusual thing, and I'm just particularly somebody who gets a little salty about it. But I don't think it's bad and should be removed.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a very important critical role fight that happens only in the first season. I'm not seeing the other ones. And the way that they do that is they have the legendary resistances. There's a particular mechanic that they're trying to do to like banish this creature, right? And to banish the creature, the creature would have to make a save for each thing that gets attached to it. You're adding like a rune to the body, right? And so they slowly are knocking down the legendary resistance with other things, and then they're going in to try to get these things attached. So it's not like a spell that they're trying to use. It's an interesting way to get around the monotony of that idea.
I think it just ultimately comes down to resources, and it always feels like I don't have enough in terms of just natural class
fair,
stuff.
You're a warlock.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I do like the idea.
Yeah, warlocks generally it would probably not be the designated. Hey, use all your spell slots.
But nobody else wants to do it either.
Yeah, that's very true.
But it makes sense. They've got this option. I would do it too. Just wish I could counterspell their counterspell, but we can't because it's abilities.
Yeah, and it's not even just a counterspell. It
does damage as well if it successfully happens, which is really fucking cool. And then he's got a fell rebuke, so if you hit him, he does a shitload of damage to you as well, and teleports anywhere he wants to.
And then he has a bonus action teleport. So I think what's interesting here is when you first look at it, we kind of jump around here, but when you first, oh my god, the cats are getting angry.
No, they were probably just playing right there and bumped into it.
So the health is 272, and at first glance, I think that's a little low for a very high creature. Well, they have a bonus action ability to just get 80 back every turn. You can just do this every turn, just get 80 back.
Wait, which one is this?
Their bonus action Vile Teleport. In the official.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just get 80 back.
Oh, 80.
I think the trade-off, though, which I think is a very smart trade-off, the trade-off is you have to be within range, 15 feet of a party member. So you can't just teleport way the fuck away and just get 80 health back. You have to teleport next to somebody, and then you can run away, which is a very cool trade-off.
I like it. I mean, I'm not disappointed with the stat block, to be honest.
No, I think it's very cool. I think it's an interesting way to not have legendary actions. The reactions are basically like legendary actions. I just wish there was more.
One reaction. Yeah. Oh, three actions per turn. That's basically legendary. Are they getting rid of legendary?
I don't know.
Well, we don't know. Honestly, I think they should.
Yeah, and this could be
just
a whole separate podcast.
It's just another section.
Reactions.
Just say he can have 3 reactions per round.
Yes.
And then there you go.
Yeah, my issue with legendary reaction or legendary actions are they can be tedious, and it can be tough for me to remember. I guess these reactions could be the same problem, obviously, but I think of it like Matt Colville's action-oriented monsters. He adds these extra reactions and extra bonus actions that they can do in response to something that a person's doing, which I think is a very interesting way to, because then you can build the encounter itself. The player's something, okay, every time I hit this guy with my melee attack, he hits me for 3d6 damage. Okay, let's try just doing, let me back up and try ranged instead, see if that does, okay, he's not hurting me there. So you start kind of working out different ways to, that's why I wish there were more to figure out, but then I think you have the same issue as legendary actions, is that the more of those that there are, the harder it can be to run the adventure, to run the combat, which is obviously they're trying to make things a little easier to manage.
Yeah, when you look at the alternate stat block though.
Yeah. Which I'll try to remember to put a link to so you guys can look along with it. Or I'll put it on the screen here.
Is there
YouTube.
Really any difference in a legendary action versus an action in classification? It's just an action, right?
Yeah, basically.
So at this point, I feel like it's just a structure thing, or at least an organization sort of thing. They're basically saying Vecna has 4 actions a turn in this stat block because he's got 3 legendary actions and his regular action. You know? Yeah,
because you got, and even in the actions, you got the multi actions that you can do. And
I'm fine with that because there's probably
I like both.
There's 4 to 8 of you. it's literally just semantics at this point, if that's even an applicable term for this.
Because there's always in these legendary actions, there's always some action that I just never touch because it's just I don't see the point to some of them. This one, this revised one, I think they're all great, but there's some official legendary actions that are like, okay, I would never use this because there's better legendary options for me to do.
I don't really think they removed legendary actions. They just took Dread Counterspell and Fell Rebuke and put it in reactions and then said reactions 3 per turn. Cool. And then they put Vile Teleport and bonus actions. That probably would have also been a legendary action. Only 1 bonus action per turn. So it's a new way to organize and funnel them into the stat itself. Now, and the other one, the third party, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 abilities, not counting cast, spell, and attack because that's assumed.
Right.
In legendary actions and actions altogether. If they were all under the actions tab, it would be a massive slab of stuff.
This stat block, while it is more in line with other big bad stat blocks we've seen, it does the exact same problem where it hurts my head at first to look at. It's like, that's a lot of stuff. While this official one, which is probably why they're doing it, seems a lot easier to manage.
And as fun as saying the boss is going to use their legendary action is
2 here, 1 here. Yeah.
Just say, cut it out. And he just does it because honestly, everything this guy should be or feel legendary. So I don't think it's as much of a conscious decision or a fuck you to people that love legendary actions. I do still think it's there.
So what do you think of the spell list of the official one?
It's a little sparse to be quite honest.
To be the strongest wizard a lot, or undead.
I'm also not the biggest fan of the organization. This isn't about the spells itself, but they don't list it by spell level. They just say at will, twice per day each, and once per day each. And you can assume the less frequency, the stronger the spell is. But you've got the simple stuff in cantrips or whatever. At will, as many times, animate dead, detect magic, dispel, fly, lightning bolt, mage hand,
lightning bolt at will, that's pretty sick, I will say.
Pretty sick. Twice per day. So can only do it twice. No way to really recharge. I don't think there's.
No, just a day.
Just a day. Dimension, door, invisibility, and scrying. And then once dominate monster. Only once for Vecna. He does have the book though. Globe of Invulnerability and Plane Shift.
It is assumed that the Book of Vile Darkness will be with this Vecna stat block, which obviously will change a few things.
Yeah, it gives him more control to just dominate you if you fail. I think it's a charisma save of like 22 or 24 or 25.
Something ridiculous, yeah.
So like you're not, if you min-max your character, you're kind of fucked against these things, honestly. You're not going to roll 25 ever. So that's what concerns me about stuff like this. Like, what do you do? Because there's going to be plenty of characters that dump charisma. And that's fine. That's how like the world works. People have weaknesses, but
my issue with this stat block is, or with the spell list,
yes,
as I am with every official stat block, or I mean, honestly, any official spellcasting stat block, is I don't care for the utility abilities.
And that's pretty much all they are.
I don't need to know that he's got scrying. I'm going to assume Vecna can scry, right? I don't need to know that he can cast Mage Hand. Am I ever going to have Vecna cast Mage, like specifically cast the Mage Hand? No, if he ever needs to grab something, he'll just like levitate it over to himself. I mean, it's Vecna, for crying out loud. I mean, obviously we can always do the DM thing of, this is what I would do. I would just assume Vecna can cast every spell in the wizard spell list.
Honestly,
I mean, he's Vecna. And so you could always just assume that.
I think I don't know if they consciously did this, but I know they want to put something on there rather than cast every spell.
Sure.
But
that would be interesting. You can cast every single wizard spell.
Yeah, just get your player's handbook. Here's Vecna. What's his other book? Oh, you have to have the player's handbook with it. A lot harder to run, yeah. Exactly. So,
and to be fair, and the reason why I asked this earlier is because looking at some of the actions that Vecna has, some of them are pretty similar to a few different spells that do exist, which again say
they've been doing that a lot.
Yeah, Rotten Fate is kind of like Finger of Death. I mean, I guess that's the only one here, really. But 8d8 plus 60 necrotic damage, and then you can turn into a zombie if you die. I mean, it can't be counterspelled because it's an action. I always think it's so much fun, though, if you've watched like live plays, or even done it. I'm sure people have done it themselves, where you can see the big bads with the cast like scary at someone. You're like, you know what? Counterspell that. 8th level, and the DM's like, oh my god, 8th level counterspell, and it's probably good because it was like a Finger of Doom about to kill your party member.
Now you're fucked.
So I don't like some of these abilities. Just they do just happen. Maybe it would make sense, and of course Vecna could just then dread counterspell and do the damage anyway. And for Vecna it would make sense, but I think speaking on a larger whole, I don't like that would be a new trend heading forward.
Fuck, you're not you can't cast more than one spell a turn.
No, you got to get his reactions done.
And most adventure parties are 3 to 5, I would say. Mm-hmm. You are not, and it makes sense. It's Vecna.
Yeah, this is the anti-spellcaster stat block.
You cannot cast a spell at him.
Mm-hmm. So it is nice. Martial classes always get made fun of. This is the martial classes. And they still get beat up a little bit here.
Martial classes are fighting for having a high dex. They'll even put probably 12 if they can in it. High strength to get most of their damage unless they're doing finesse. So probably 16 to 18.
Yep.
They're probably going to dump either a whiz or intelligence. And the only option between those two and charisma is just their character's personality and what they want. If they want a smart one, a streetwise one, or a charismatic, like good looker sort of person. So even they're kind of fucked.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Get dominated and then start beating up on the squishy spellcaster? Probably.
How? I haven't played high level, so this is why my brain is so unimaginative as to how this would work. So feel free to let me know.
It'd be tough.
What you think would go out, but
But hey, this is your big bad. It makes sense, right?
You have to tell me about the adventure because I didn't get to dive too much into it because I didn't realize it was a full fucking adventure.
So I guess we can segue to it right now. It's a 2 to 3 hour adventure for
really
3
cool.
to 4th level characters.
It's using some monsters that
3 to 4th level 20 characters.
Missed. I like, and it's a nice little map. Before we jump off though, was there a reason to give Vecna and the third party thing 20 strength?
I guess it's just Vecna.
Like, it's okay if he's weak. He supplements everything with
magic. I do like
magic.
That the intelligence is higher in the revised one, while the official one has intelligence lower than wisdom. I think it's assumed again that he has the Book of Wild Darkness, which will raise it up to 24, so it'll be even, but still.
Yeah.
Semantics, maybe.
Yeah, I think these are two polar opposites. I think the one that was made is a little over engineered. I like the spell list much better though. And then the Vecna one, you're yours. But yes, the adventure that comes with it, what I skimmed through, I did really enjoy.
It's called Don't Say Vecna. And this is if you have not claimed the Vecna Dossier, this is still available for everyone. Unfortunately, the Vecna stat block is not, but you can probably find it somewhere. So it is like I said before, it is a adventure for 3 to 4 20th level characters, and it lasts about 2 to 3 hours. And I could see it going probably about that, maybe a little longer. First of all, a level 20 adventure. That's unheard of from PC.
Unheard of.
Very few adventures are done at that level. So I appreciate the guy that wrote this, Michael Galvis, and Mike Bernier, I don't know, who wrote this, just released it for free. And I guess we can shout out to Stranger Things for all this, because that's probably the only reason why it exists right now. Mm-hmm. So the initial concept is that it's 3 scholars, Kaylin, Aiden, and Bryn, are researching Vecna, and then Vecna, as Vecna does, is like, oh, you're researching me? Oh.
His ears burn a little bit, and he's like, somebody's talking about me.
Yeah, he tracks them down. Plane shifts the tower to Limbo, and there he imprisoned them and tormented them until they eventually died.
Yep.
So I do like that this isn't just like a shoehorned tack on to the Vecna Dossier. Just like a full, fleshed out little beautiful, cute little quick one shot. Maybe cute's the wrong word. This is also, if you want lair actions for Vecna, which are not in the stat block, are in here, which is very cool. So instead of we could obviously fully analyze this thing because it is a gigantic adventure. Well, not gigantic, but it's
not insignificant.
So I think a better way to discuss this is if I think it's satisfactory level 20 adventure, because like we said, it's very untouched. Now, I think yes and no. I think it does what most high level stuff does, is it's just not, I don't know, there's just something missing for me. And even like a lot of one shots, it permeates through a lot of stuff. There's a story that goes through the whole adventure, And yeah, you can probably attest this for the session 0.5 that we recently did for our live play coming to a stream near you. Is that the stories through one-shots that you uncover as you play through like journal entries or through things here and there. And you've seen from adventures we've read where it says like, this particular event happened because this happened in the past. The players will never uncover that. But like, for example, the Bone Devil at the beginning says that it happened because like, it's like someone's hand got cut off or someone's eye got cut off. And then they morphed into this Bone Devil. It's like, they're not going to know that. It's never going to be uncovered. So my issue is that these stories with a lot of one-shots can be difficult to get everything necessary that you want in, and difficult to get the players to care about it.
I think that they are aware of that, because with the Bone Devil, it does transform back into those things, the hand and the eye itself.
Sure.
It's like a little trinket. But the things that work the most in short stories often are character driven for me and people, really. When I get to see, it's almost always a surprise or circumvention of what you expected, which can feel cheap at times. Yeah. But there's not much of that in this, is it? No. I mean, it's 2 to 3 hours. It's pretty quick. You move through the temple, different events happen. You read journal entries here and there and slowly piece together that these people were checking out Vecna. Yeah. And Vecna started corrupting them. And I think this kind of harkens back to, hey, let's sit around a table. I've got some new monsters and stats and miniatures I want to use. Yeah. You jump in. You get to the room of the dark obsidian and the Bone Devil shows up and you kill it and it turns into hands and an eye and blah, blah, blah. You do your badass shit. He does his badass shit.
Everyone's doing badass shit.
Everybody's just having fun. You know, I feel like most people, 100%.
I do think this would be extremely easy to pick up and play. For sure. I mean,
that's what I was impressed about.
Even just picking up and reading it now, it's like, okay, the laboratory's got your description in it. Okay, it's got and it does what I love about the D&D stuff, where it has quick links to the stat blocks.
So useful.
It breaks things down by bullet points here and there. Gives you stuff that the characters might say. Says bolded letters to get your attention. I mean, it seems very easy to pick up, just dive in, maybe read it once, twice, get the basic idea. All right, let's do it.
I was quite surprised by I mean, there's a good amount of content in here, but the length, it doesn't, when I scroll, there is a ticking like meter in my brain that drains as I scroll down. And most of the time in the final dungeon, in things like Arm of the Frost Maiden or something else, I get to that part in my notes when I'm studying for the podcast, and I'm just like at the bottom of that already. And then there's like,
right, the
3/4 left. I'm like, oh my God. And I understand this is the end of a long campaign, and this is just hey, there's not a lot of 20th level official stuff. You guys want to run it real quick? I think that's what it needed to be.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of the intensity that the Tomb of Horrors brings. Because there's a lot of stuff in here that will mess with the party. For example, there's a 9th level dominate monster spell that just affects if you read something. 22 wisdom saving throw. If you fail it, that's why I told the players to leave early. If you fail it, then the DM should probably pull you aside and say, just let you know, this is what's going on. You feel normal right now. And then once you face Vecna, that's when it takes effect.
Oh, you're just under his, oh shit.
Yeah, because dominate monster at 9th level lasts for 8 hours. So he's basically puppeteering you, but lets you, obviously I would still let the player control their character, until the moment that you see Vecna, then he's like, come to me.
Is that a 9th level? Is there a way to end it? I assume concentration. On Vecna, no.
I don't even know if, no, it's not concentration. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but
for 8 hours, yeah.
How are you gonna?
So you can assume that you'd start beating up on, old Vecchi boy, and he'll drop his spell eventually. But
it's still fun as long as you let your friend attack your party members.
Yeah, I mean, each time you get hit, then it's a wisdom save to try to break out.
Okay, yeah, fuck, there you go. That's fun.
So just slap your friend a bunch.
Fine. That's super fun.
But if you had, probably the barbarian fighter would not be reading, so they might not read this this journal entry that would dominate them.
You would hope. Sometimes the barbarian does like to read.
But there's a lot of stuff in here that messes with the party, which, like I said, harkens to that Tomb of Horrors. Just quick, get in, get out, hurt your party, hurt your friends, and then have a laugh at the end.
I hate that it will go away because DM's Guild stuff gets popped out all the time. Here's this. I didn't feel there was enough stuff in this genre, this culture,
Right.
this level. I wanted to make something, they pop it out, and it's just there. I'm excited to see that even though this is in a unique one-off situation of, hey, we're starting to transition to being an official WotC thing, get in here, and hey, it's timely with Stranger Things. So I hope it's not just the only time they make stuff, because I don't think they need to make 20th level stuff or shoehorn it in to their adventures.
Right.
It's tough, and it will take a lot of resources and studying that the designers aren't used to. It's not wrong for them to get used to it and start doing it. But I think that's what this fits for. Most people don't play to level 20 in their story. And it's going to be like if you watch the Adventure Zone, they have live plays where they come back as people from those games that are specifically for the balance arc as higher levels or as older people. And it's just like, you guys are doing whatever you were doing before. Let's get the gang back together and go on us some Vecna, you know? So I think it's fun and it works for high level stuff. And this is going to be what helps D&D Beyond and Wizards of the Coast have more of these adventures under their belt, as long as they don't delete them.
Yeah, I agree. I like I said, unfortunately, this is a article that will disappear as the years go on underneath all the other things. But as we saw with the Monstrous Compendium for Spelljammer, that's up there for free. Anyone can still access that. So I don't understand why this is a time limited event. So hopefully this is not the trend, but I do like the trend of continuing to add stuff randomly and have free quick adventures for people to check out.
Yeah, I think ultimately, since you read it a bit more in depth than I did in terms of just like looking at, Vorpal Sword, let's go. Would you recommend it if somebody was looking for a high level thing to do?
Yeah, I don't know if I would. I don't know if I'd fit it into my adventure, because it's tough to fit the final end game stuff into an adventure or into your own like home brewed stuff. But I do think it's very dark brewed. You got some interesting ideas in here, some cool, like I said, ways to mess with your players. I think it would be a fun, quick one shot to do with some buddies to just hang out and have some fun. To try to see, hey, you're playing a level 10 adventure in our home game. You want to try just a 20 to see what it feels like with your same guy and just go crazy. I think it could be really cool to just practice some level 20 stuff.
Do you think that people who play like that are the majority, like the main audience of D&D in particular?
Like that don't
Not
get to 20?
6 years long campaign people who are character driven.
I think
hey, let's make a character play.
I think it's maybe changing to be a little more half and half of people that like the long term and getting attached. But I think the reality of life is we might just not have
it's
that
hard
time
to get people together to do that. Yeah.
It's like, okay, we have a year and a half before half of our group graduates. Okay, let's just do maybe a series of one shots, or we'll do a very quick campaign. And even a year and a half, that's not even a quick campaign. It's pretty lengthy.
So that's why I feel like the format that this is justified. Overall, I would say that the Vecna Dossier, the monster itself, even if people do feel it's underwhelming, compared to the other high CR monsters, like the dragons especially, I find it really entertaining.
It's very cool.
To be
cool
honest.
ideas.
I think it bodes well. The edits that people make, I do think, are based in what the community wants. I think it could be a little bit stronger. And then the adventure itself, or at least for what I went through, I found it exciting, and it would have been just like a cool, like, let's have some drinks and fucking kill Vecna. Like, hell yeah, let's go.
That would be kind of fun, yeah.
It'd be a really cool time.
Cracking open a couple cold ones.
Though running a level 20, I feel like it is an advanced thing. Like, you've got so much you need to track that you couldn't just say, hey, entirely new players, let's play a really high level game.
This is true.
Because they're going to be reading their spells. Well, not against Vecna, because they won't need to read
maybe
their spells.
not a first time adventure a thing here. But maybe you guys have done, maybe first time, like you've done a few one shots here and there, or at least played up to level 5, 10, possibly, just so you got the ideas under your belt, and even for DMs. Because now Vecna itself, I don't think is very hard to run. I think it might be hard to run smartly, because Vecna is a very smart creature. But I think running just it as a part of Don't Say Vecna, I don't think it'd be very difficult. So maybe get a couple adventures under your belt and then give it a shot.
And though, if I got a taste of a character I was running for a long time at a high level, it's going to be rough going back, but that is a good way to have the building blocks of their instincts and reactions that the player has, and that just quick, I know what I'm doing, and then adding another 10 to 15 levels on top of what they're used to, whether they are at level 5 or 10 before. So rather, it's not 1 to 20 of new shit, unless they really want to. So that's a good way
cool.
to go through.
Okay, so last thing on this too. I think the nice thing about putting it as an article, and I will appreciate this, because I don't think you can do this with other books on D&D Beyond. There's like a comments section. I was just kind of scrolling through it, and this guy, because they don't have any maps on it, obviously you have to pay people to make maps and stuff. This guy made maps for the adventure itself, and it's they're not too shabby.
How deep in the comments was that?
It's on the second to last page. It's comment 89 if you guys are out there. Want to check it out.
What the
Seraphim 54. There's probably someone else that made some as well, but yeah, they got some here. Very cool.
You really dug into that.
Well, I went to the last because I wanted to see if anyone was complaining that they couldn't access the stat block anymore.
It is on the 5th page now. There's an extra page of comments.
89.
9.
Seraphim 54. There you go. Incarnate.
Continue the
Which is a great name for a
Incarnate. Oh, I've used this before. It is super great.
It's very cool. And they have a bunch of maps on here, but they have a couple specifically for Don't Say Vecna.
That's really cool. It's another one of those isometric capable, top-down capable brushes for drawing things. It's got all those tools. It's really, really cool. I've used it. I would
put it in this perspective, though, the battle arena does seem pretty small. So I guess that's my second complaint with
Underdark.
The Vecna's Sanctum is a lot bigger.
So
I hate fighting in towers. Just annoys me because it's such a tiny arena.
Yeah, and you could go up and down, but tracking multiple floors can get tough, especially if you're in a VTT. It's not easy at all. Outside of that,
it's the dossier, man.
Yeah.
My last thing, I keep scrolling past it. The art. I don't like the art of Vecna in here.
I do think he looks too much just kind of like and this isn't my taste, but just like a Marvel villain, attractive.
Yeah, he reminds me face-wise, looks like Ultron.
I mean, there's an image of. Well, I mean, I can't.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
There's a little image of him doing like a. You can't tell right now.
But I mean, just like the way it's structured, the bone structure looks like Ultron a little bit. I also say it reminds me like Warhammer, kind of Adeptus Mechanicus kind of vibes.
This was before he lost everything. Well, he's missing.
Well, he puts the book inside of him. Do you see that? That's the Book of Wild Darkness inside his chest.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Hold on, let me scroll on this.
Because he is still a lich at this point, so he is.
Wait a minute. I need to show you guys this. The dice.
Oh, the dice for it?
Digital dice.
Very cool.
I did buy them. I bought some different ones. Let me show this to you so you guys can be like, oh, let me see. I'm gonna show Ryan first so you guys can
show me.
So this isn't the Vecna ones. These aren't the Vecna ones, but they made some astral plane ones.
Okay. Check out our episode on the astral plane, guys. Astral something 101.
Look at
That's
those.
pretty nice.
And if it lands on
astral projection 101 is what it's called.
If it lands on a 20, I don't know if we're gonna be able to get it. It'll summon either like a really good monster from the astral plane, a fancy one like a unicorn or like other slugs. And if you crit fail, it'll summon like
the dreadnought.
Not the dreadnought, but it does summon a what the fuck, Megamind? What are they? Mother Brain? I don't know what the fuck they are.
Illithids guys.
Yeah, the brain. It's got like tentacles and stuff comes out.
I know what you're talking about.
I could probably just roll a shitload of them. But while I'm doing that, and like a demon and a bunch of other things and like a mech, there's some really cool stuff. And they have a really deep kind of like, they're really high quality. So
really nice. I mean, this is a smart way for D&D Beyond to sell stuff.
Oh, I will buy so many fucking dice, dude. And then the Vecna ones. The D20 is one of the most unique I've seen.
You used the Strahd one for a while. Those are pretty sick.
I used the Strahd ones. I've got a few. I've got pretty much all of the Sanguine dice set. They boom, 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 boom when you get it. Sorry, we're just doing D&D Beyond shoutouts now. I used the dice of alignment for a while. Yeah, they all have different sound effects. These that look really strange and they pulse and turn into a heart when you roll. Planar summoning.
Oh, there it is. Dice of Vecna.
Let me refresh here. So I'll roll from this. It is just an eye.
What the heck?
And then it looks and tells you what it got.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
So I'll come over to you guys real quick. Oh.
Yeah, show everyone.
And show y'all. Let me squat.
If you're on audio, I apologize. Go to the video on youtube.com.
Alrighty.
Nice. Okay. Look at that iPad.
It's a little eyeball and it goes whoop. A 5 for you guys. Nothing else happens on a 20 because the special thing is the eye moving around. I just realized I'm not speaking into a microphone. There we go. So I love the digital dice. Should they charge money for it? Yeah, it's
how much is it? Is it?
It's 6.
It's not too bad.
I think you do have to pay for it, regardless. But almost all the dice of varying qualities and detail are about $5 to $6. There are some basic ones, like simple ones, that are $4 or like $2.
They got some Vecna themed backdrops.
It's so I just love, like, you looked at that was carrying my character for the home game, but I was fairly satisfied with it just in general. I like more content coming out quickly. Monkey Brain wants stuff. Give me food.
Yeah, I feel like I don't go to the D&D Beyond articles enough. I mean, the last couple ones, how to play the classic Lich, like a Dark Overlord. They got the Vecna Dossier. They have how to make Vecna the big bad of your D&D campaign. How to create engaging scenes for your plays. I mean, we could just come here and steal these ideas for podcasts.
Yeah. No, they're always really good.
They're very cool.
Shit, we could just read them and talk about it. I'm kidding. I don't do that. But outside of that, I think we talked about the live play for the most part already, so I won't bore you too much. Our link tree, which is what I'm starting with now, does have all of our socials. So if you want to go follow us on Twitter and Instagram, that's at Dungeon Crawl Pod. For both of them, links are just in there anyways. The link tree's been buffed. If you go there click on the top link, which is this podcast you're listening to right now, the Dungeon Crawl, it'll show you all of our most recent episodes. I've defaulted it to Apple Podcasts because most of you guys listen through there. But if you just look right there, there's a Spotify button, boop, it'll take you right there. Or you can just play it natively in Linktree without any issue. You don't have to have an account, whatever. Tap on that again. You go down to the YouTube. It'll pull up the video, actual video that we've made most recent. And it updates on its own. And it's just a full YouTube player in right there. Click and go to us. Our personal Twitches, mine's back on there after stuff I did, so it's fine for you guys knowing who I do and what I'm a VTuber on Twitch, so go check that out. But we're both down there at the bottom. And then I don't know if I added much else in the way of it. Everything else just kind of takes you the links to where it wants to go. Once the live plays back up, we will put that back on there right now, or not right now, but just eventually. We do have a Patreon. If you feel like
we do have a Patreon,
donating some cashola to us, feel free to
help us with this transition to some really nice crunchy audio.
Yeah, I'm hoping to. I think eventually we're going to get Ryan one of these so he doesn't have to bring that over.
Hello.
At some point, so we'll see. Though that mic is good. It's these two that you see all the time on the internets. Email, thedungeoncrawlpod@gmail.com. Yeah, send me an email. I don't know, let's be pen pals. That's it.
That'd be cute.
Yeah.
So as I was reading for this, as I do, to prep and read the Vecna Dossier, I found a book that was buried in my treasure trove of books.
Necronomicon?
No, I wish. But it was covered in these strange writings. I've actually been playing a lot of Eldritch Horror. Have you ever heard of Eldritch Horror?
The concept or game?
It's a board game.
I know of Eldritch Horror. Who are you playing board games with?
Julie, my girlfriend.
Invite us over. It's fun.
It's super fun. Yeah, I think that and another game that I have would be super fun to play. Is like either just with just us or we do like we can record it and put it up. Super fun. But I'm obsessed with it now. Like thinking about it constantly. But while I was playing it, I found this book that was covered in these runes and strange writing. At first, I thought it was just related to Cthulhu or Azathoth.
I wish.
Yeah. But as I opened it, it started talking and speaking back to me, and kind of like Harry Potter in a little bit. Turns out it was our boy Vecna.
Oh, boy.
It was his Book of Wild Darkness. So if you're looking for it, guys, I got it. I'm still out there searching for the eye and the hand. No luck yet.
No luck yet.
But he wrote in it and said he's a big fan of the podcast and was very excited that we were going through the dossier. And wanted to, give a shout out. And I think he's going to be a big fan in the future. So if you want to praise Lord Vecna, then please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Say in the review, Vecna sent me. I'm sure he'd appreciate it.
Sorry, Mad Mage Kavath. We are on to bigger and badder, guys.
That's a deep cut right there. We haven't talked about Mad Mage in a hot minute.
Some of you guys have bolted through our content.
Oh my God, yeah.
At least every week there's one or two people just like swiping through the entire
Yeah, if
thing.
you guys are, I don't want to call you to too much of an action after I just called you to an action, but if you want to comment either on our Discord or in the
Discord, send the link too.
Or on YouTube or wherever, send us a tweet, email, tell us how you found the podcast. I'd be very interested because I'm always so intrigued where people are finding us from.
It's crazy. I think every episode of ours, only the first week, it's about 200 to 300 people who listen, and that's not insignificant. That's a full auditorium of people. So we know at least probably like 50-ish of you, because they're in the Discord and they've said, hey, once, and it like popped out. That's probably a small number of people, like 10 or so. But there's people in the Discord that lurk and don't talk, and we're like, hell yeah. Thanks for just existing.
I have no idea how people keep finding us from places. It's wild.
That's another thing we talked about. I'll pop open the stuff, but we might start implementing podcasts we think you guys would actually be interested in as ad mid rolls as our podcast provider / hosting site. Buzzsprout allows podcasts to pay for their own ad stuff, and it's only the podcasts that are on Buzzsprout. There's some really cool tabletop RPG games and whatnot, so you may hear
some video game podcasts.
Yeah, you may hear in the middle of the episodes in the coming weeks or months start having those, a little outro.
We find out we hate it, then we'll stop doing it. But we're gonna give it a shot and see what we think.
I think with how many of you guys listen, it'd be like $20 a month, which pays for the podcast itself,
the hosting website and everything.
So it'd be awesome if you guys just listen through that. Hopefully it's not obtuse. I think they're like 20 to 40 second ads.
Yeah, they're very quick.
Very quick in comparison to the hour. It's not too bad. But let's know your thoughts and just talk to us. We're stoked about this all the time, and should be the actual year of the crawl,
the dungeon,
the dungeon crawl. He's been Ryan.
He's been Braxton. We'll see you next week for something awesome.
Crawling. Yeah, don't know what we're doing, or we do know what we're doing.
Do we?
Just in the Book of Vile Secrets.
Scary.
So we keep all our episodes.
Yeah, ready and
except not, because that means Vecna would hate it. Because only things he hates.
Oh, this is true. Yeah.
Shit. Gotta go erase some stuff.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.